tried to text people.
I mean, your LinkedIn is popping though. You know what I'm saying? It's like, wait, what? How you do?
Oh, that platform's weird. I'm not 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 feeling comfortable on it yet. You know, like
I hear that.
my personality is very Instagram, and that's very professional. And it's 4:44, so let's do this.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let me
we
grab
are
my
doing
water.
this.
So, and of course I didn't fill it up. But so we talked about LinkedIn. Cheers. This is to you.
Cheers.
So, you know, we talked about LinkedIn, and like we also talked about just the professionalism aspect of, you know, corporate, right?
Yep.
And the shift from community to corporate. Luckily, you're in a space where, you know, that shift can be made gracefully.
Yeah.
And, you know, on my end, like, I mean, I'm in the nonprofits, but there is this like nonprofit speak that's a little bit above where I was previous to this position. And so LinkedIn even speaks to that. Like LinkedIn speak is different, definitely different than Instagram speak, definitely different than Facebook speak. Right. So like I'm comfortable talking a lot of smack, like, and expressing myself all day because that is important to me and it's important to my healing and to the world, right? Period. On Instagram, on Facebook, for sure, there's like deeper conversations. But man, when you get to LinkedIn, it's like,
Well,
I don't know.
I think with LinkedIn too, it's, I mean, you know, it's a professional site, and it's really geared towards building your career. And so I think that there's this balance that you have to walk between, you know, being yourself, but also keeping it professional. And I'm still learning that, you know, coming from small business, it's so different. It's all about you and your personality. And I think I mean, it still is in this other environment, but I don't know. I'm a little more nervous there.
Dude, I am right there with you. I'm going to put that. So I think I'm going to make a connections list, like a list that says connections. And
Yeah.
I'm going to put that under there and I'm going to put like a score. So
There
I
you
think we're connected in that way because once again, like, yeah, we come from, you know, the community. We have community conversations, one-on-one, like real talks, right? And so how does that translate over when I'm on this professional site called LinkedIn? And it's like you got to post, you know, whatever you got to post, right? It's interesting to live that and still be authentic because like I said, I need to express myself all day.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and that's, you know, I felt safe doing that on Instagram. I mean, and even then, like, I guess that's not totally true. I guess if we're going to be completely honest, I mean, even Instagram is very curated on my personal page. Like,
Now,
well, I don't have it now. I mean, I have it, but I don't use it. So that's a
Mhm.
conversation for later. But what I realized when I started the business was that and this is not to sound like, oh, I'm so cool, because I'm not at all. But I think, you know, my small business, being the owner, like your personality is the brand. And so what I was finding is that people would follow the store and they would eventually find my personal site, which was always private, but I started letting people from my work life into that, but quickly realized like, okay, it's not really a personal page anymore. And so, yes, I shared my kids occasionally and I share my husband, but I kind of had a feeling I understood what people wanted to see and why they were there. And so that's what I think I allowed to show more of. Um, so even that became highly curated.
in a sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if curation is the right word too, because like there was a definite like wall that Instagram hit.
Yeah.
Like there's this point where like Instagram was kind of pure in a sense. And it's kind of like, what's up, DJ Network? Peace, peace, peace.
Hello.
Um,
Drive safe.
that's the dude. Yes, please drive safe. So, you know, Instagram had this kind of purity in the beginning, it kind of felt like, where like people were actually like naturally being on. And then all of a sudden it hit this wall, climbed the wall, and now everybody's just curated. And cool, because now we get to use our discernment. Like I get to find out who's really real, right? But I think on top of it too, it just drives, and dude, it's driving the young ones nuts.
Well, I mean, it's hard. I mean, being an adult and knowing that people are being thoughtful about what they're putting up, and there's reasons why they're showing what they're showing. I had to step away from it all because I found that it was even affecting my well-being, because you inadvertently end up comparing yourself, or choices you make, or seeing that maybe somebody else is having a great day and you're not. Like, it all does affect you. I mean, it's pretty odd. It's all self-imposed, right?
Mhm.
But it happens. So I don't know, even being a critical thinker, it sneaks by you and affects you.
No, I hear it. It's like what you consume, right? Or what consumes you.
Yeah.
So there's that. Um, we should introduce ourselves.
No, we're just over here yapping,
I
yapping.
mean, banter, 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 right?
We could
So
do this all day.
it's
So
what it is. Welcome everyone. My name's Arthur Barinke. I want to introduce myself in some different way, but at the end of the day, I'm just community person, artist, man around town. I'll say it out loud, and it's weird saying it, but earlier I did say it today. Mr. Livermore. Y'all called me that.
I
Y'all
can
called
see
me.
that.
I never claimed that, but I claim it with honor. Like when y'all say that, just been in the Livermore community since 2009, and just doing things since then. Working with youth and establishing programs and events, and really just trying to build my community up. Welcome everyone to Conversations and Connections. I am here with Nadia Breiz. Who is also a community member. And earlier she was mentioning like, am I relevant? And we'll get into it later, but at the end of the day, yes, like you're so relevant, so important to the community. The things you've done and built for this community precedes you and will continue beyond you, right? Because that was the intent and always is, pure of heart, you know? Um, this show, I don't know. Like this show is just put on and it's finding out about itself. So it's kind of like a work of art. I was mentioning that it's starting to just tell me what it wants to do. I wanted to have a platform around connecting with the community again and connecting community in this way. So I'm really glad to have Nadia here as my first guest. Um,
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited and honored. I have a whole speech written about you. So here we go. We're going to just, you know.
Should I get my tissue?
No, I mean, unless I really do hope we heal today. So if that looks like tissue, then okay, then. I'm excited and honored to interview Nadia. We both do work in Livermore in the community, and we've been running parallel for years, like literally parallel for years. And then finally in 2021, through her Batchmakers Market, we're able to work together and connect and create something finally, right? After all these years, I knew about you because I know about everything. Like I said, like Mr. Livermore, I know, right? And always wanted to connect, but just couldn't until last year. Nadia is the creative behind Fortune Emporium, the brand, and brought to life two local events, Batchmakers Market and Fortune Follies. In 2018, Nadia decided to take a chance and follow her dreams. So we're going to talk about that too, by opening a brick and mortar in downtown Livermore that focused on supporting the artist community. She then outgrew the space and grew into what we know as Batchmakers Market, which created experiences that celebrated art in all its forms. Her love for anything vintage, combined with her passion for art and business, bore the creation of another child, Fortune Follies. So if y'all give it up, welcome Nadia Breiz to the show. Yeah, woo!
Hey, insert applause. Hey,
So
France, glad you made it. Thank you. Oh, look at that. You got the rain stick.
So we're just making some noise, you know.
Better than an applause.
There it is. So yeah, we're just gonna vibe, everybody. Hopefully y'all can like stay tuned and check us out. Stay here. And if you have questions, you can put it in the chat as well. I'm gonna play a video really quick that y'all can check out. This is about some of the work that's been done. So let's see.
The whole idea was to support the little guys and the people like us that were really just pouring their hearts into their businesses and trying to make a name and do it because we cared.
It's a lot of guts for a small maker to go from, well, I have these things that I make that are kind of cool. Do you think somebody might want them? To like put together a booth and come out to the market, and it's a leap of faith, but they leapt. They've leapt.
I just played that small snippet and I already got a lot of questions. Okay, you ready? First off, I do want to just like frame this by saying like you are a doer. You've said this, right? You're a dreamer, you're a doer, and a risk taker. So take note, everyone, like dreamer, doer, risk taker. If you take anything away, take those three away, right?
That was on my business card.
Right? And so like, I also have a question that will probably be answered throughout the conversation. But really, it's like, what sets your soul on fire? And you ain't got to answer it now if you don't want to, but yeah. Question, right? To like have ruminate in your head while we're going through this, like, what sets your soul on fire?
Okay. I think there's a lot of things. You know, I'm inspired by creative. So like, I love to say I'm not creative. I'm not a creative. My friends will argue with me about that, but you know, I'm not a tangible artist. I'm not great at photography. You know, I don't paint. I don't do those things, but I am so fascinated by people who can do that. My friends who are makeup artists, like that just blows my mind. And I love being around it. I love being a part of it. And so what I found is I'm a great connector and I love storytelling. And so that sets my soul on fire. I love sharing what other people are doing. I like cool shit. It's really what it was. You know, I grew up in the 90s and, you know, hip hop and the rave scene in the Bay Area was really big. And so, you know, having been a part of all of that, I was exposed to, you know, all kinds of different music, all types of art forms. You know, graffiti played a big part of my life, you know, through my friends. And so, I don't know. I like things that are raw, a little street, and people just being themselves. That fires me up.
Yeah.
My husband's one of them.
It shows through the video, right? Like we just watched 30 seconds of this video about Batch and like getting, you know, encouraging people to follow their dreams, right? And live out those dreams, even in that kind of way as an artist, right? It can be scary, like period, point blank, right? Like, dang, I'm an artist. I don't even know.
It's very scary. And that, you know, that's part of what I realized Fortune Emporium is that, you know, artists are great at what they do. They're terrible at promoting themselves. They don't know how to price themselves. They are afraid to toot their own horn. Everything they do is not good enough. And I always love to point back to my husband because he's so talented and he is one of those people. Like you know, he has a background in automotive paint, but he does amazing work. I have, in our entire relationship, only been able to get him to hang one of his pieces. He painted a skate deck. It's beautiful. He hates it, but it's, you know, so I became that voice for them. And that really made me feel good. And that's what those markets were. It was a platform that was low cost and affordable so that these small businesses could, you know, get their stuff out there.
I'm gonna say it because I think that you started it. You know, you're like that ripple in the pond, right? Where if you start, you're just the drop and you start the ripple and then it starts to have that ripple effect because now in 2022, everything's a maker's market. Like, well,
yeah, here in town. I think, you know, I definitely was not the first to start the idea. That was, you know, borrowed from other places. But what I tried to do is I tried to make what I did unique. you know, I realized that anybody could put on a market. It's easy to, oh, I mean, it's not easy, but, you know, I wanted mine to have some flavor. And so the reason we were wearing those costumes in that video, each month what we tried to do is we tried to do a different theme. So we would highlight, you know, a different era. That one happened to be around the holiday season. So we did kind of like an 1800s, you know, Christmas theme. And we had costumed actors walking around and that kind of thing. So I tried to put my own flavor to it. I did see things starting to pop up that emulated the things that I was doing. So it just made me work harder to try and make myself stand out and think outside the box a little bit more.
I hear that. What was that like when you like first saw, I guess you would say, like that happen, that kind of copycat style?
Am I being honest or am I being professional?
Be honest, because I have honest thoughts too about that situation, not your situation personally.
I was angry.
To me,
I was angry. I was hurt, and mostly because I am huge on collaboration, and I hear that all the time. I hear people saying, "Oh, we need to work together and lift each other up." Well, what I found in the small business community was, unfortunately, that wasn't always the case. So I would always really try to work hard. So even if somebody was coming in to do something that seemed very similar, it's like, okay, give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's get together and find out, you know, what are your strengths? What are mine? And even though we might be similar in what we're doing, what are our differences and how can we come together and be a powerhouse together, right? But I found that wasn't happening in this instance. And so I became a little mad. I don't know. There's not another way to say it. I was hurt.
Yeah.
And I felt protective. And, you know, that was my baby. And I worked really hard for it. And to see other people come in and feel like they could just do it. I mean, and of course they had their own unique spin on it. That was their thing. But it's like, it's a small town. We could have figured out a way to work together and that didn't happen. So it was a turnoff to me.
I hear it. I'm gonna put another notch on the connection list. So right quick on my end, it's like, nah, people stole my stuff. Like if I'm doing things, I do multicultural events in Livermore. I'm like known for that, right? Been doing it. And like there's actual proclamations that are out there by the city of Livermore that list my events but never give me credit. There are like the city of Pleasanton started like doing their thing as if they did multicultural events, you know, and as if that was a focus for them. Let it be. That's cool.
How does that make you feel? You have feelings about it.
Oh yeah, no, that made me work harder.
See, you're so positive. I just got mad and I worked harder, but I let my anger, I think, consume me a little too much.
No, I mean, I'm there with you. I also got angry too. And it fanned the flames, right? So I had that and I kind of harbored that for a long time. Like these years that we were probably a reason we didn't connect was like we were angry in our own corners when we could help each other.
I was pouting.
Yeah. No, but you know, like at the end of the day, it fueled me and I was able to like move forward in a way that was more empowering, but that took time. It took a lot of time to get to a place of like forgiveness in the sense that I could move forward, right? And heal from that too, you know, and that's a whole nother subject, like, because, and we can talk about it because it's part of the programming, but like that leads to your mental health, you know, and at the end of the day, that's capitalism, baby. Like that's how that is, right? But that's not how we operate. You know, people.
No, and that was a hard thing for me. That actually got said to me by another business owner, and you know, she essentially said, you know, that I was being afraid of the competition, and it wasn't that, you know, that she said, you know, this is all business, this is not personal, but my business was personal to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't get down with that. So then I started really questioning my maturity. I started questioning, like, am I strong enough to do this? Because maybe I'm not strong enough to separate business from personal, but like, I don't want to work with people I don't get along with. I don't want to work with people who I don't respect. I don't want to work with people who I don't feel that I could be friends with. Like I don't need to be doing that. So when this was said to me, it sat with me for a very long time, because it really did make me question, like, am I not good enough to be doing this? Is something wrong with the way that I'm reacting?
Yeah. But you know, at the same token, I think that we all went through something in 2020 and went around those same questions, right? Really questioning, like, what are we all doing? You know, and to say that, you know, this experience that you had and that I had, it's like
Mhm.
we're kind of trailblazing in that kind of way, because you know what? We stick to our morals, our values, our high grounds. And guess what? Now there's all these businesses that are claiming, like, oh yeah, we have high values, X, Y, and Z. And we have our whole value statement and all of this stuff. But it's like, but do y'all live that? You can
Yeah.
say it all day, but do you all live that? Does that live right here? I know it does for you, Nadia. That's why. You know what I'm saying? And that's really real. And that's why, that's part of the reason it does hurt that we do the things we do and we see that happen. And then for someone to like kind of gaslight and just be like, but you know, it's business. Maybe it's you. Fuck all that. Like, I'm gonna be expressive, y'all, because I told you at the beginning,
The F bombs. No.
I'm lit. I'm like lit up with passion, because that's what it is. Like, y'all, seriously? Like, don't do that. Y'all didn't learn, and y'all still in this capitalism game. But yo, we changing the game, because guess what? What we're bringing changes the game. Y'all don't know, because y'all don't live that. But listen and follow, learn.
Well,
Come
I mean, I think that's the thing that I realized, that people are watching, they are learning. And you know, and this person who said that to me is still in business and thriving here, doing well. And I'm not, you know, well, I'm not thriving and doing well. I decided to take a different direction, but I mean, they're still out there doing their thing, and people have no idea what the true moral standards behind it were, you know, and it's like it's hard for me to watch sometimes, but then I realize, like, yeah, I am walking my own walk. And you're right. I'm just trying to stay true to my values, and I'm doing things on a different level now, you know, in a different direction. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what it all means, but I'm going to keep doing me.
I hear it. I hear it.
Mhm.
I think we just went through a whole thing. I'm gonna take a breath really quick.
We just unloaded.
All right. So, I mean, let's stay on business really quick, and then I'll go back to your history. But really, like, talk to the beginnings of Fortune Emporium. When was that? Like 2017 or something?
Yeah. So yeah, 2017 is when it started kind of coming to life. My husband and I had always talked about having some type of small business. He's super creative, like I mentioned, and he's great with branding. So we had come up with all these like small business ideas, right? Nothing ever came to light. Got some cool artwork for some of it too, maybe one day. And then I have somebody that's close to me, a family member who was going through a lot of hard stuff. And that person doesn't realize how much they drove me to do this. But Fortune came about as a way to heal from dealing with some of the trauma that they were going through, that I was also having to experience. So it was something positive for me to focus on. And it was really a gift from my family, from my husband and my kids, because the timing was just right for us to be able to open this small business. So I reached out to a good friend of mine who lives up in Portland. Shout out to Anjanette. She is just a fantastic human being and is just sharp when it comes to, you know, branding and merchandising. And so I spent many hours on the phone with her, trying to just brainstorm ideas. I had no idea. First, I wanted to open a clothing store. You know, that's what it was going to be. And then I thought to myself, okay, well, I got my own unique style, but a lot of times people will be like, oh, you look great, but I could never wear that. And so I thought, okay, I'm probably not going to pick the right things, right? And then it became, well, I also don't want to exclude men. Like, I want it to be a family thing. I got kids. I want it to be a space where everybody wants to come and kick it and hang out and be inspired. So of that came Fortune Emporium. And we decided that, you know, I would do this thing and support creatives of all kinds. And so one of the first things I did was come up with a mission statement. And it's funny that you say, you know, people have all these value statements. Like, when I started that, like I had zero experience in any of this. I didn't know that the mission statement I created was going to become now what is considered pretty mainstream. I mean, it included the word being an inclusive environment. Like now that's like a thing, that's a buzzword. But back then it really wasn't, right? And so, but it just came naturally for me to say that, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it grew into this little space. I was in the back of this dumpy building. Yeah, it is. It's a very dumpy building. I had,
Listen.
but I had ideas for it. If only I could get the owners on board. They were always so good to me, but they weren't interested in all my ideas.
Was it the Oddfellows that owned the building too?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's
I
not.
was
But the building owners just
working like
thanks for
right
listening. They were good to me.
Okay. I was like working right next to you in the Oddfellows building.
No way. How funny.
Yeah. So that's another connection. I'm just gonna notch that. I think we're at 3 now, but go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so I figured, it was a terrible location, terrible. But I thought if I can make it in the back of this funky little building, like I'm gonna be okay. I can make it anywhere, right? So one of the first events we did was we held a charity art show called the Art Growlery, and we had a bunch of tattoo and car painters. They're all super talented artists. Custom paint these metal growlers, and then we put them all on display. We auctioned them off, and we donated to one of the local charities in town. So that was like the first thing that I did, and it really set the tone for what was to come. That night, I met another local artist named Kimberly Kerr, Kimberly Ayers. She is just phenomenal. So it just started connecting me with just all these brilliant, bright, smart, talented people, and it just kind of started snowballing. Along with being a little retail shop, I was doing workshops, which nobody was doing in town. So what I do is I would invite these artists to come in and teach classes, and we'd get creative as a group. We'd serve wine, which I wasn't supposed to be doing, but you have to because it's called fun. So we would drink wine and make stuff, and God, we had a blast doing it. But it was a small space, and I partnered with Marcina from Espresso Rosetta because we were on 2nd Street in Livermore, which is like nothing going on there, right? And downtown would always invite us to be part of their events, but it was always on 1st Street. So it was like, hey, why don't you pack up your whole store and set up a booth? And I'm like, well, hey, I'm paying rent over here at this store, and I would love for people to know that I have this beautiful space. So Marcina and I were like, why don't we start throwing an event on 2nd Street? And at the time it was dead, and downtown was like, go for it. We pitched it so well, in fact, that now our farmers market is right where we used to be.
I have thoughts.
Riddle me this. But
say
it was good. Vibe was good. Yeah, I'm proud of what we did.
No, you did it. I remember that too. I remember seeing it. And now that I think back, I think that also one of the reasons that we weren't able to connect back then either was probably like this anger that was inside of me around things at the time.
Man,
right?
I wish I would have known, because we could have done some things.
Dude, I mean, we're going to do it now.
We did
all good.
Yeah.
But back then, yeah, for sure. I was like, wait, who's popping up with stuff? I was like, here on the street, like, okay. I attended, I think I attended 1 or 2 because I had like dance practice at
no way.
Yeah.
Oh, fun. Well, thank you for coming.
Yeah. And then I remember y'all had some DJs there too.
Yep.
And then and I was working right there, like, so next to the tire, an auto shop,
right there.
What is it? Creative Healing Center.
Yeah.
So I'm doing some stuff over there. And some of those folks connected with you too for a second. And so just more connections. You know what I'm saying?
So funny. I'm learning all this stuff I never knew.
But why Fortune Emporium? Why is it called Fortune Emporium?
Well, Emporium, I kind of liked the whole old-timey feel of it. But Fortune kind of came out of us. My husband and I were joking around. There's a comedian that we like to watch, and he had this joke about people saying, like take care wrong. And he would say, take luck. And so we would always kind of joke with each other and say, take luck. And then we started thinking about the whole makers community. We're like, make luck. Right. And it all just kind of came together because, fortune is chance. Right. But you can make your own luck. You don't have to wait for things to happen. You can get out there, you can take a risk, you can dream, you can do, and you can make your situation come to life. And so we started saying make luck, and fortune kind of played into that, kind of sounded like a cool branding thing. So Fortune Emporium it became.
There it was. So we spoke a little bit about like roadblocks and things like that, and I'm glad we got that out of the way. I kind of want to shift it to those that are like on the fence and still beginning, right? Like you have a talent, a gift, right, of lifting people up and getting them to see themselves in a different light that is, giving them the ability to push their art, right? Put their art in the limelight. And so what would be some tips for those that are like kind of on the fence, want to begin, those that you've seen and kind of like helped up in your time?
I mean, the biggest advice I could give is that you just have to do it. You got to stop listening to the doubts in your head or to the naysayers. You got to put all that out. Like if something is speaking to you or you're feeling a certain direction, then just do it. What's the worst that's going to happen? You fail, and even with failure comes learning, right? So if you don't try, it's never going to happen. So I say just go for it. And you never know where things are going to lead you. Like, I guess I'm a good example. We started the store and I thought that was my path. This was going to be my path. Then COVID came and I had to shut down the brick and mortar. And then I thought the markets were going to be my path. And, I got a very unique opportunity presented to me that had I not taken the chance to open this store, I would have never had. And I'm so happy and just honored that I'm getting to do what I'm doing now, that it was all part of the path. So you got to go for it.
And so you kind of went over the story of it, and so do you think it's an evolution or a revolution, this path, like just that maybe even those moments, that instance or that time and space, that particular time and space of the beginning?
I mean, the path is evolution, right? Because it's progressive. Each step is adding to wherever you're going next. But I think just trusting in yourself and staying true to your dreams, your goals, and just to yourself in general, I think that's kind of revolutionary these days because we're just full of followers. I mean, you see that on social media. You see that just by the way people all dress in town. Like it's all the same. All the same. If I see any more of those Pharrell hats that everybody loves to wear, like, you know what I'm talking about. It's just, I think that's the revolutionary part, is just not being afraid to be yourself.
Yeah. That's that revolution.
No offense to the Pharrell wearing hat folks. Like the hats, but.
Oh, all right, let's shift. So you talked a little bit about COVID. And we all went through that. How was that for you? That's a very broad stroked question. Like, how was COVID, but when you think back to like the healing of that year, right? Because there was some healing at least on my end, I felt healing from it.
Yeah.
I'm just connecting with folks to see if there was healing for them. And what did that look like now that we're like 2 years removed from that particular year? And what were some nuggets around that? Like, did you come away like with some gems like, oh man, I'm in a lot better space, I take care of myself better, I love myself more? What does it look like? What does it feel like?
I mean, it's a little of everything. I don't think it's a very cut and dry answer to that, because in some ways it was very healing. Like it definitely reshifted my focus. Like having a small business, I was very absent, I guess, and not present from my family a lot because I was worrying about, having to pay the bills that were coming my way and what am I going to do next? And so I was constantly working, and even, sitting in bed at night, I'd be, on my phone on Instagram because that's what I was doing for work, or, thinking about the next thing that I had to do. So, like I'm sure with many people, COVID gave me a chance to just pump the brakes a little bit and learn to become more present. I think on a business level, it was a roller coaster ride because it happened, during a growth period for my brick and mortar. So before I closed it, we were actually in the process of signing a lease at a newer space that was closer to First Street downtown. So we were actually on an upswing. The reason I decided to close was that my lease was up, and it just didn't make sense. Like, COVID went down in March. My lease was up in June. We had no idea how long this was going to last and what was going to happen to retail and the economy and all that stuff. So why am I going to sign a lease? And thank goodness I didn't, because how long was everybody closed, right? I would have been closed majority of the time, and they were only going to give me just a couple months of no rent. So, I mean, it wasn't a smart move. So that was a hard pill for me to swallow, because I didn't get a chance to explain to people why. I felt like from the outside, it looked like I failed. And so that was, this is where ego comes into play. I'm 100% aware of that. Like, it was me worrying about what other people were thinking, and then they were thinking I was a failure. I never got to have a clearance sale and get rid of all the stuff that was in there. All the things I didn't get to do. I was so worried about that. So, but I pivoted real quick. I hate that word, but I'm going to use it. I'm so sick of that. That's a 2020 word I would never really want to hear again, right?
On the list.
But I switched gears. We'll say, I switched gears really quick, and we just went headlong into the markets. And so that gave me a new focus and a new thing to feel proud about. But yeah, it was a little bit of a roller coaster ride, because I didn't know what was going to happen.
I have like this flash question that just popped into my head, but how do you make decisions? It's so weird, right? Like,
yeah.
And do you use your intuition and gut when making these decisions? Because we're talking about acting quickly and like going with what's happening, especially in 2020 and even beyond now. Like, a lot of decisions have to be made quickly.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
It's definitely a gut check. I think, you got to use your intuition. I mean, you know when things feel good. And again, I'm willing to take risks. There does have to be some thought that goes into it. You gotta weigh some things out. But I use my family and my friends as a sounding board. I'm sure much to their chagrin, but I try to take my past experiences and use that to feed my gut, and then work it out with a couple people that are close to me, and just go.
Love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
So let's get into mental health, since we're talking about COVID and all that's transpired these few years, right?
Yes, I'm crazy.
Even before that, like, just in general, right? Mental health is such a big thing. I know for 2020 myself, like, mental health was a huge thing, and really had to go through some things to get to where I'm at now.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you if you'd like to tell a story about a difficult time. You can say no. It's all good.
I mean, I got off social media because I was having a hard time. I mean, that's kind of, that's a thing. I wouldn't say that there's one event in particular that caused me to do it, but I could see that I was having a lot of anxiety, especially because I was going through those changes with my business. The very people that I love to support were also, like, I was having a hard time watching them continue to go when I was going in the opposite direction. And it made me feel very bad about myself. And again, I know this is all self-imposed. This is all ego. I get it. But it didn't always mean that I could control how I felt. And so I had to make some decisions to step away, because I do function much better when things are out of sight, out of mind. And that I can have that time and space on my own to process them without feeling pressure to put on a smile or have the things that are hurtful to me in my face. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I think that, you know what, it kind of like lends back to that whole like conversation we had at the beginning about relevancy,
Yeah.
right? Being relevant, you know? And also just want to say too, like your feelings are valid, like period, like point blank, whatever feelings you're feeling, they're valid. Like, you know, we ain't got to do nothing but feel them. And it ain't about others, right? Just my thoughts, but regardless, glad that you had done that for yourself, have been aware about it, so then that way you can make that shift to better yourself, right? And
Yeah, I
just
mean, it was hard because I would get a lot. Another one of the things that I started doing is I started, there's a lady by the name of Julia who's awesome. She runs Charming Fig catering here in Livermore. And her and I started doing an event together that was really focused around uplifting other female entrepreneurs. And we called it Entrepreneur with an HER at the end. And, a lot of times people would say, would comment about, how, at least what I took from their comments was that they appreciated that I was balancing everything and that I was doing it with a smile and that I was positive, but really inside, because I wasn't letting any of that show, I was having a hard time. I was struggling, but I wasn't about to put all that out there. And I know there's some people who do. I know you were talking about authenticity earlier, but last thing I want to do is get online and watch people crying and, doing all the talking about what a hard day they had. Like that's, in a way, it's a form of entertainment, I think, for people more than we'd like to admit. And so I was mindful of that, but that's another part of the reason I felt like I had to step away, because I felt like I wasn't being authentic at that point. I wasn't living up to these expectations that I had built. And I was kind of embarrassed, I guess, if I'm being honest, about how I was behaving, not in the public eye or feeling.
I hear it. I hear it. I wonder what man, we can go down this rabbit hole really quick though, but like, building community, right? We do this, we know this, especially like in real life. We know what it takes to do that, right? And for it to be sustainable. And it's like, how does that transfer over to social media, right? Like what kind of community have you built in social media, right? And so I look at it like you made a really great point around like it becomes entertainment for some people, right? But I don't know. I feel like I guess on my end, like I don't want to build entertainment for people. Like I want that authentic connection. And you kind of have to like be discerning around that, right? And so it's kind of like it's good that I think it's good that you did like shut it down. You know what I'm saying? Because then you knew that it was turning in a sense too, and that's
Don't
kind
miss people. Like, don't get me wrong. It's funny. I actually just had a phone call with another artist that I started carrying her work in the store. I call her a friend. We've never met in person, but we talk on the phone. We, message each other all the time. She's good people. She's in Vallejo, which is not far away. We just haven't been able to connect in person. And we were just laughing about it over the phone a couple days ago, because we're like, we still a couple years later have yet to get our butts in the same room together. But like, she's my sister. Like I care what happens to her. She checks in on me. She's one of the few people who have checked in on me since I haven't been on social media. So it's like, I realized that there are positive aspects, and I did build a community. I think my problem was I wasn't in a good headspace. So I chose to focus on the negative side of things, instead of the positive side of things. So it becomes more of a mind shift. I don't think I'll hide under my rock forever, but for now, it's
feel
a
it.
good move. Yeah.
I mean, I tend to like say that that's just you listening to yourself and being in that, in that flow of listening to your intuition, that's a perfect example of that. And so, commend you for it.
Thank
Like
you.
whatever it takes to heal, period. Like that's it. Mental health, whatever it takes to heal that's it.
Well,
Sometimes
it's been a fun experiment though, because like I mentioned, it's like, okay, when you're on Instagram, for example, and you're watching stories, like there's people, I would interact with a couple hundred people a day sometimes, just because they're messaging you or commenting or whatever. So you're kind of bantering back and forth with people. And I didn't make any kind of announcement that I was getting off. That drives me crazy. Like when people are like, okay, I'm now taking a break. It's like, okay, drama. I just disappeared. So I don't know that that was the great way to do it either, because people were also like, are you okay? Are you alive? Like, what's happening here? But when I was not in their face, or they were not in my face, who am I thinking about? Are they thinking about me? And it's been very surprising to me, the people who have taken time to, call and check in. Like, there's been quite a few I wouldn't have expected, and yet there they were. So it's been very eye-opening, and same with me, the people that I tend to think about now. So there's a lot of learning lessons to it, and I highly suggest trying it sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
It's cool.
notes on the experience, because that's something that, you can give to the world too, right? Like, yo, you build in a true tribe,
Yeah.
you build in that true community and what
Yeah.
that looked like.
I know who the real ones are now.
So we talked a little bit about taking care of ourselves. What are some, like, I guess, what have you done to take care of yourself other than the social media aspect, right? Like, are you taking like salt baths now? Like, what are some new things that kind of came up that's like, oh, this is adding to my positive mental health. This is adding
Well,
to good vibe.
so I've always been super into fitness, and I thought that COVID would like make me even more ripped, but I went the opposite direction because I started a new job, and oddly enough, that has been my kind of healthy thing. I work a lot, but I love it because it's challenging me up here, and that's what I needed. I needed this to be focused and onto something new. And so I'm learning, and that is my healing right now. And that's what I've been doing to take care of myself, is giving my brain something to expand upon. But I also do, I walk my dog and I do all those things, because I am home a lot. I work remote. I am being mindful about getting out on the weekends also. So I've been spending a lot of time at the beach on the weekends, and, trying to find fun things to do with the kids. They don't always think it's fun, but I force them anyway, because I'm a mom and that's what you do. So we took them horseback riding the other weekend, trying to just do random stuff, just to make memories and have a good time, and hopefully they'll appreciate it someday.
Well, they will. I mean, you say that now, but when they turn like 30, they'll be like, yo, we went horseback riding. Interesting. And then when they have their own kids, they'll be like, oh, okay, this is what it is. Should take them horseback riding.
Right. I actually took my grandpa. Cool story though. My grandfather he's 79, and he's, from the Philippines, and back in the Philippines, he used to take tourists on horseback trips through the mountains in Baguio, up there in the mountains. And he always wanted a horse, but couldn't afford one here in the US. He worked 2 full-time jobs as a custodian my whole life. Hard worker, but just didn't ever make a whole lot of money. And so I decided to take him horseback riding, and we spent the day doing that. And man, I learned so much about family history, and just about the Philippines, and just all kinds of stuff. So that's why it got me fired up. That's why I took the kids. I was like, we're going to keep doing this horse thing.
It's in your blood, right?
Yeah, apparently.
I mean, that's what it is. That's lineage right there.
Yeah. I'm no cowgirl though, I'll tell you.
I'm going to shift to community. So some questions around community, right? What does community mean to you?
Community to me is all about relationships. I mean, that's what it is. It's about lifting other people up, celebrating their successes, finding ways to collaborate, all for the greater good. And hopefully along with that comes inspiring the next generation.
I'm going to add to that. So as a leader that you are, how does community give back to you?
Oh, it feeds my soul. Like I said in the beginning, it makes me feel good when I see other people winning. I would see the kids that come out to batch. And in fact, one of the special things we did is we did something called small batch, and all the makers were kids, and just seeing that, that just makes me feel good. That's how it gives back to me. Nothing really more than that. It's really just that simple. Makes me feel good.
I hear it.
Yeah.
That sets your soul on fire.
It does. It's flaming. My soul's flaming.
There it is. So with that, what is the Livermore community like? I know we described it a little bit, like kind of in a roundabout way, but maybe like 5 words to describe the Livermore community.
Ooh, that's a you're setting me up. Wow. I thought we were friends, man.
What?
No, it's a great community.
2 words, 3.
It's a great community. 95% of them is great community. That's a tough one. I don't have 5 words, but I can say that there are a lot of great people who do genuinely want to support small business. And that's it. I ran to a lot of people that do care. It's a caring community.
Yeah, definitely a caring community.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, it's interesting because Livermore has, I don't want to use this word, but clout. Livermore has like Livermore clout. You know what I'm saying? Like out in the Bay Area, it's like, oh, Livermore, hella far, not part of the Bay Area, but it's cute. Like a lot of people think that it's cute.
It doesn't have a lot of flavor. I mean, that's just it. I think it's trying. It's trying, but it's like it wants to be urban in a weird way, but not. But that's why I appreciate people like you, who are bringing things that aren't like traditional. I tried to get in with the art community when I was doing some of the stuff at my store, and they're like, too lowbrow for us. Like it wasn't watercolor lilies, and it wasn't okay. So I wish that it would be a little more youthful and outside the box, but I have faith that it'll get there. And there's a few people in town that I think are trying and that are making some waves. And I'll be there cheering them on the whole way.
You gonna be one of them. I already like. I got plans for you, sis.
Uh-oh.
No, we've been fighting for a long time. Like some of the first programming I did was like a tribute back to my youth, like hip hop, like you mentioned in earlier in the program, right? It was just like, yo, we talking about b-boy and we're talking about graffiti. I had a graffiti event in downtown Livermore during art walk in front of Blue Bar, if y'all remember Blue Bar. Shout out.
Yeah.
But like we had things like that. Not as well received. Will it be well received like nowadays? A little bit more, right? But it doesn't shift the culture, right?
No.
It's like this evolution of Livermore, and that goes. We can go into history about that. Why?
But I think we were trying to dip our toes into that water. I mean, like even with Batch, like I understood like it's got to be a family environment, but like we had a drag show at the park in downtown Livermore. You know what I mean? We brought break dancers, thanks to you, came out to show off what b-boying is, and people were into it. So I know that there's a niche to be filled, and people will be receptive. It just needs to be done right. It needs to be done right. And yeah, so keep on doing it, my friend.
She's like, I'll be here. I'll be your consultant, and he's on.
No, you know what? I know I'm gonna get that itch. I already am. I'm like, okay, I feel like I need to do some kind of something. I just don't know what it is yet. And I gotta get into a better rhythm with my new career path. And then once I figure out, that whole thing, then I could start thinking about doing something a little more creative again. But I don't know. I know I have some tricks up my sleeve still.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm here. Reach out. It's all good.
Sir.
I'll be waiting. So what are some tips and tricks around community organizing?
I'd say for me, it was not being afraid to reach out and ask people to join forces, and listening to what their goals are and being able to be articulate and expressing what your goals are so that you can come together and find a way to do something unique and creative. In the beginning, I was really scared to reach out to other businesses, oddly enough, because I thought, oh, they're not going to want to work with me. I'm a nobody. They don't know who I am. But you got to get over that really quick and then take time to build relationships. Again, there's that word, relationships, but it is the backbone of everything, right? If you're good to people, they're going to be good to you, and you just never know how you can help each other out or who you could connect them with or vice versa. So just taking time to nurture that, I think, is important, and just straight up telling people thank you. Being genuinely grateful, I think, goes a long way.
Word. I know we talked about Livermore already, so we'll leave the community aspect with that. Okay, so let's shift to
I'm
now.
thinking international now. I'm leaving Livermore. Like, we're thinking big.
We are, right? It's funny because I was just in conversation with someone earlier, and they were just like, yeah, doing it locally. I forgot what the tagline was a few years ago, right? But it was like, do locally, think globally. Do you remember that?
Kind of, yeah.
To that effect. I just remember like there's a bunch of sayings around that, like, oh, act locally and like affect globally X, Y, and Z. But now's the time for that. Like, yo, we can like hit up people wherever,
Yeah.
like it's really shown that it's time to grow, for
Yeah.
everyone, right? I'm gonna play another video. I don't even remember the video order, but I know that you were talking about like Fortune Follies.
Yeah.
Well, let me just play that video.
Yeah,
Is that
and
cool?
then I can explain it.
Can you talk about it? Yeah, cool.
Yeah. That's my baby. That video has never been seen by anybody besides the production company and me. So,
oh, thank you for that world premiere right there.
Yeah, started in the middle of it, so there's some more good nuggets, but that is a passion project for sure. Yeah. So Mercina and I, who put on Batch together, we're also diehard all things vintage, and she is a historical costumer, and we get together and talk nerdy costume stuff. And I started telling her how I'd always wanted to put on a burlesque show, like a vintage variety show. And so in 2020, we had our first one. It was the weekend before lockdown. I'll never forget that, because I was like, are we going to be able to do this? There was just this undercurrent of like, the world's about to shut down. We all knew it was happening. It was like the last big hurrah before everything locked down. It was an incredible way to go out, but we've been waiting 2 years to put on the second one. And so that's what happened in October. We got together again, and we had a bigger venue this time, and it was just an incredible show with a killer cast. Yeah, so much fun.
Oh,
so much fun.
Yeah. Soul's on fire right there. So for sure.
Yeah.
So is there a next one coming up?
I don't know. Mercina and I were talking about that recently. I think we really do want to do another one. Again, it just kind of comes back to, we were really waiting for COVID to die down. I mean, even with the second one that we did, it was like, we started planning it in like July, and then that second wave started coming. And so people started freaking out again. So it wasn't as full as we would have wanted to be. I mean, it was still a pretty packed house, but we could have done more. And I think, productions like this are not cheap to put on, and for me, it's not a money-making thing. I just want to be able to make sure I can make my money back. That's all I ever want to do. Like, for me, it's just fun to put together,
Mm-hmm.
So as long as I think things start to open and people start to be more comfortable in indoor environments again, then yeah, I'd love to do it again because it's just so much fun. It's wild. It's wild.
Word, I hear that.
Yeah.
Um, I'm like starting to dream now too. I'm like, when can that fit in? But anyway, put it on the calendar.
Right.
So speaking of the future, right? Let's shift over to that. What are your dreams now?
Well, it's been my dream for a long time to start traveling again and to, you know, both expose myself to other cultures and art from all over the world and also be able to help other communities outside of my own little bubble here in Live Mo. And I'm having the opportunity with my new career now. I am essentially getting the chance to do what I was doing with Fortune Emporium for my new company on a bigger scale. Sorry, that is my son's jujitsu alarm.
Is he good? You got to pick him up or something?
No, we got to cover it. I just, I got alarms on alarms on alarms. That's how you roll as a mom. You got to have a lot of alarms. No, so I think my dream is just to keep growing, keep doing what I'm doing, but just scale up.
Yeah.
Scale up and just keep touching lives in some way, somehow. And hopefully do that abroad.
What are some smaller dreams? You have more tan just that?
I mean, yeah, I'd like to get my garden going.
Yeah.
I'm a terrible gardener, but I would love to have a like functional vegetable garden. So if any of you listening are into the dirt,
I mean,
hit me up.
I'm gonna say it out loud, but Amy is like the one.
I know, but she's just as busy as I am. So
true. I mean, you're gonna
she's busier.
Yeah, right. So
yeah, you're right though. I should pick her brain.
something. I mean, I love plants now. I'm a plant daddy, so there's that.
Really?
Heck yeah, dude.
You got like a type of plant that you like, or you kind of
just like, dude, it's just like reading people, right? You just read energy, and so it's like, oh, you're gonna go home with me today? Okay, let's go.
I love it.
So,
do you name your plants?
What it is.
Do you name your plants?
Some of them have names. Yeah,
I love it.
Some of them have been around since 2020. You know, when 2020 hit, like, I mean, shows that 2020 was a big deal. Even before COVID, I was really healing and coming out of trauma. So like, some plants have been with me since then,
Nice.
And
I talk to my plants.
Do you?
I do. I also talk to my dog. I'm home alone a lot, I think, is the problem is.
So do you name your plants too?
I do not name them, but I do talk to them.
Okay, cool. Like every day, often kind of thing? Were you?
I do. I ask them, like, if they're not looking right, I'm asking them what they're not feeling, if they're not feeling well. So my son likes carnivorous plants, and I think they're awesome because they're great. Livermore is known for its flies. So having them around the house, they catch all the little bugs. And I had one recently that was just not happy. So we had a little conversation, and I moved it into my bathroom where it's a little more humid and right up. So I feel like the conversation was a win.
That's how you do it. So how do you listen to plants is like the next question.
I listen with my eyes. I know you're more of an energy reader, but like you can see when they're not happy. So it's just paying attention.
Absolutely. How do you pay attention then? Now I'm coming with the questions. It's like going to the lightning round.
Fire away. I take time. I make it part of my routine is take time to notice,
Has that been developed over time? You feel like?
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, I'm a Gemini. I'm all over the place all the time. Talk fast, move fast.
I wasn't gonna say it. I was gonna wait for you to say it. But yes, you're definitely a Gemini.
100%.
Just the whole conversation. I'm like, don't say it. She's a Gemini. Don't say it.
And I have to say it because I'm a Gemini. We like to say that we're Gemini.
Like,
so
you better know that I'm a Gemini.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
In fact, my birthday is coming up in about, a month, and so we like to celebrate a month early, like all of leading up to our birthday is the birthday.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
You got birthday plans?
Yes and no. I have the chance to go to Puerto Rico for work, and then my husband and I are celebrating our 15-year wedding anniversary, so we're going to be taking a trip in July to celebrate that. So my birthday falls like right in between those two things. So
Are you celebrating for like 3 months
I
straight?
told you that's how we do. That is
Okay,
how we
then.
do.
There you go, Gemini. Get it. Cool. Okay, so let's go into some lightning rounds. I feel like we skipped a section which was like your history.
No, we don't need to go into that.
Well, we're coming back. We ain't gonna do all that. So here we go. Okay, lightning rounds. Metaverse, yay or nay?
Not super into it.
Okay. Love languages.
Touch.
Okay. Cool.
I'm a touchy person.
Cool.
It's not good during COVID, I guess.
You had your family. 3 people. So I'm gonna name 3 people and then just like, do you know them, right? Caskey.
What was it?
Jeff and Loretta Caskey.
No.
That's interesting because they showed up at your Fortune Follies looking like they had a good old time. They were in your video.
Really?
Yeah.
Not. Oops. Probably should know. Okay, face. If I had a face, I
All
would.
good. All good. Amanda Owens.
Yes.
Meredith McHenry.
Yes.
Awesome. Cool. Good.
Not personally, but I know who that is.
Yeah. Oh, no, we should keep going, but maybe they'll do that another time. Favorite shade of lipstick?
Red. Always red. That's my power
Is
color.
there like a specific like, okay, Revlon number
I
044?
mix my reds. I mix my reds to find a red for me.
Okay, so it's never the same?
Custom. I'm custom. I'm unique. Even my lipstick's got to be unique.
I heard it. Favorite Michael?
Jackson.
Cool. What is fear in 2 words?
Scary shit.
What is forgiveness?
Letting go.
And then what is love?
Listening. These are tricky.
It's
I think the first thing that comes to my mind.
Of time is like, whoa, I got to answer this right now. No, I feel it, and I didn't set you. I didn't send those to you.
This is good.
Yeah, no, that's fun.
I just learned I'm not great at improv. I should have taken more of those classes.
You still can, and you can host
This
them,
is
and
true.
produce them, and you know what it is. That can be associated with the Follies, and then you can start to introduce like community Follies. And anyway, so I'm dreaming. You know me, I'm a dreamer. There are 2 air signs here. You know what I'm saying? And so need some grounding around it. But anyway, thank you so much. I don't know if I did play all the videos. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you for sharing those. Those are, it's fun just to even watch those little pieces. It's great to see how far I've come. Like I don't think, I mean, it's not about tooting your own horn, but it's like it is about being proud of the journey. And there's so many great people that I met along the way. Leah, Derek, I know you're out there. France, Shell, I think they're all out there, or they were. They came here to support tonight, so I appreciate that because,
absolutely
need those people in my life. So that's what the journey is all about. So thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, going back to it, just to recap, like, really, I think we all learned what sets your soul on fire, right? And how pure your heart is. Like, what are the right words for this? How inviting and intentional you are to be able to connect with and really like lift up others, right? It's such a big thing that you do. Beyond these events, beyond, a business, beyond all of that, you're here and your gift is giving others gifts, and being able to bring them up. Just from this conversation.
Thank you.
I told you to get the tissues. So, I mean, it's really apparent to me, and it's like I don't question, and I question like, and I also know why we didn't connect prior to. But like hearts like yours are hard to find, and people like you are hard to find because you represent community like to the fullest. You know what I'm saying? And so like I'm really thankful to connect with you now and to like dream. Even like in these past couple seconds, I don't even know what I said. I was like have community Fortune Follies, blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? But like
Thank you.
that allows me to dream when I connect with people like you who are really about the community and really like about lifting others up. Like that's so freaking special, dude. Like that's amazing, you
Thank
know?
you. But
And
I got solid people around me, and that's the driver.
for sure, for sure. And you know, dreamer, doer, risk taker. Like that's you. Right? So that in addition to lifting others up, really like and that is part of it, right? And so that's also you too. And that gift is extra special because you know, I asked like what is fear? And people are scared, right? And it's like, what is it to get past that? You
Yeah.
help facilitate that, right? That's part of what you offer. That's part of what you do. That's part of who you are. And so like once again, it's super special to have and to like be in your presence and know that.
Thank
And
you.
like, dude, I'm so thankful that like we're able to interview a little bit and talk a little bit about it. Come away with a little bit of healing around it, you know, and just like talk, you know.
Yeah, no, it feels good. I appreciate you reaching out, and know that you're going to keep doing good things. And like I said, I'll be here cheering you on.
Yeah, sure. I hear it. I hear it. I want to thank everybody that's, you know, in the chat that showed up and just like checking it out. I appreciate y'all for being here.
Thank you.
Do you have any thank yous, any shout outs you want to give? Family, friends?
Oh, everybody that's here. I've been getting some texts on the side while we've been talking. I haven't been responding, but thank you for being here and being my friend and supporting the things that I've done. And of course to my husband. I don't know if he was able to jump on or not, but he's definitely like I couldn't do anything without that guy. He's a solid human and my best friend, and I really appreciate how much support he's given me. And same with my kids. I think they might have been on here for a little while, but man, they're good little humans, and I'm really proud of them. So huge thanks to my family.
Oh, sad.
That's it. Yeah.
And I think too,
Well,
like
thank you.
one more thing, like around the healing is that you're supported. Like, you know what I'm saying?
For
Part
sure.
of relevancy is like, and that finding that true tribe,
Yeah.
like I think we're all finding out. It's not just you, right? But like I think we're all finding out like who the true ones are and like sticking with that. And we're here for you. Like period point blank. Like
And I'm here for you.
you know what
So
I'm saying? Yeah.
virtual hug.
For sure. Like wow.
See, I'm a touchy
Want to see you win, you know? So it is what it is.
Yeah.
Once again, thank y'all. I have shows coming up, but I don't even know. It's like
Well, you're
oh,
about to jump on and DJ right now, right?
told you. I'm over here like I just want to talk. But I think at 7 o'clock I got Right Among Friends. I'll be DJing, so hop on in. If y'all can, please follow. Give me a subscription or a like. I don't know if it's a like. I think it's a follow. So just follow on Twitch at Emmerich_lifestyle. You're here already, so just hit that button. Anyway, thank you all so much. If you have any more to say, Nadia, like now's the time. If you want to like go on another tangent, we can do that. I don't even remember what we were talking about in the beginning.
No, I'm gonna revel in the glory that was this last hour and 13 minutes. I think that's a good 13 is one of my lucky numbers, so I think that's a good place to.
Wait a minute, where is the
Minute.
timer? You have the timer.
I have the timer for some reason.
Okay. Why is 13 lucky?
We got married on Friday the 13th. So
Okay.
that is a important number
That's
in my
okay.
life. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was like, no,
It's not an unlucky number at all. It's
no, dude, 13's the jam. It's 12 disciples plus Jesus. Like, you know,
13's a good number. So
anyway, but yeah, okay. Y'all have a good night. Thank you all once again for showing up. Appreciate y'all. We're out. Peace. Ooh, I'm still on. All right, y'all.